It's arrested development.
Hi everyone! So this morning I was listening to Doing It Right. This is a song by Daft Punk featuring Panda Bear. And I just had a bunch of thoughts of how this song reminds me of a bunch of stuff related to my experience as an autistic person. So I thought these were interesting, and I thought I'm gonna record a video and share these with you, hoping that you will find it interesting as well. So just before we start, a bit of context if you don't know Daft Punk that much. But basically, Daft Punk has a really interesting lore, especially if you're autistic. I think you're gonna relate a lot. So basically, they're a duo and they became robots. So I'm gonna put a little bit of the story here from this really interesting read. I'm gonna leave the credits here as well. But basically they became robots, and in their album Discovery, they are robots on Earth trying to make music, and they're trying to make music based on taking samples. So they're taking pieces of different music that already exists by human artists and trying to make their own music out of it. So it's robots trying to make music and express themselves using already created human music.
Human music. I like it.
But Random Access Memories is the biggest masterpiece for me. Discovery is already amazing because of the lore and what they do with the sampling, but Random Access Memories really resonated with me because of the journey that you follow with those robots. So the robots are on Earth. This time they want to express themselves, so they're trying to feel human emotions, they're trying to get a message across. So you really follow their journey as they're trying to fit in. So they are on Earth, they want to be more like the others, so they try to sing more like a human, using more of a human voice instead of their robotic voice. They try to dance like humans, so they're trying to feel emotions and have experiences like humans. So they're really trying to fit in, to love like a human and be loved like a human as well. But then throughout the album, they realize that they can't do that. They're never gonna fit in, they're never gonna be a human. But then they realize that it's okay if they don't fit in, because they are not going to become human. So they just embrace their robotness, and they still express themselves with their own voice, with their robotic voice. They understand that they have value and their experiences have value, even if it's not exactly like the human value. They understand that they can find joy in life and that their message has value, their experiences have value when they dance like a robot, and people understand that they are robots and they still have fun with them. They still love the robots, they still have all of those feelings. And this album really resonated with me, because raise your hand if you are autistic and you ever felt that you were a robot when you were a child, or at least that you were adopted because you knew that you were different from everybody else, even inside your family, and you were like, where did I get this from? Like, I don't fit in even with my family and I don't understand why. So anyway, the whole Daft Punk lore was really fascinating to me, and I basically understood all of this lore by watching these two videos. I'm gonna leave them here on the screen, and I'm gonna put the links to it so you guys can check it out, which I totally recommend, especially if you're autistic. And then if you watch those videos and you give a listen to those two albums, if you're autistic, I'm sure that you're gonna relate to a lot of it, and you're gonna get your own interpretations of it, and you're gonna think of other experiences. But today I just wanted to focus on this song and things that I thought when I was listening to it. And you might think, Marcella, why are you talking about this song? Is it because it's the one that best encapsulates the whole experience of being autistic? Not really. I'm just gonna talk about it because I was listening to it this morning, like I said, and I had all of these thoughts and I thought they were interesting, and I like doing videos in this channel about things that I'm interested in, because I'm a very small channel, so if no one watches it, I had fun making this video. So anyway, I'm gonna share a bit of my thoughts in this song today, and I hope you find it interesting as well. And before we start, just to make it clear, these are all things that I thought, so I just got them out of my head. There are no interviews, as far as I'm aware, of Daft Punk confirming they ever thought of Autistics when creating this album and this lore or this song. So if I say that this sounds like someone scripting in their head, it's just things that I think. So as far as I'm aware, Daft Punk never really thought about making songs that would relate to the autistic experience. So yeah, just getting this out of the way. So the song starts like this.
Doing it right, everybody will be dancing and we're feeling it right. Everybody will be dancing and be feeling it right.
So if you play it, literally it starts with the robot singing. There's no instrumental part before it. There's no silence. So when one song ends, the other one begins with a little bit of silence between them. Literally, if you're listening to the whole album, the last song ends and this one starts like this. And I thought that was very interesting because it reminded me of how autistic people sometimes interrupt others. So I don't interrupt people that much because I know that's not a nice thing to do. Sometimes I feel like interrupting others, but I know, like, let's let them finish their train of thought before we interrupt them. I do interrupt when I'm talking to my friends, but another thing that it reminded me of that I do is not giving context, especially at work. So when I have office hours, sometimes I just start saying something and the person has no context. And I know that happens because sometimes I've been scripting a conversation so much that when I'm actually talking to the person, I kind of forget that they don't have all of the context that I had imagined in my head. So sometimes I start a conversation and I already say something and then the person's like, wait, sorry, I don't know what you're talking about. Can you give me more context? So yeah, this just the beginning of the song made me think of that. So sometimes how autistic people can interrupt the others, or in my case, I will just blurt out something without context because I had been scripting the conversation in my head and then I forget the person doesn't have all of the context. And finally, there's another thing it reminded me of. It's related to work as well. So I have kind of a low self-esteem at work. So when I do talk to people, again, in office hours or when I have a one-on-one, sometimes I feel that the other person doesn't really want to talk to me, and because it's work, I feel like they don't really want to be there. So I try to save them time. Like, I know you don't want to talk to me, I know you don't want to be here, so I'm just gonna say those things. And you are very smart, you have great memory and you're socially apt, so I'm sure you're very smart, so I don't have to give you all of this context and explain things slowly to you, like step by step, like sometimes I need. So I'm just gonna say something to you and you're gonna connect the dots. So then if we let the song play a little bit more, it goes like this.
Doing it right, everybody will be dancing and we're feeling it right. Everybody will be dancing and be feeling it right.
So something that is related to autistics is this black and white or rigid thinking. So there is a right or wrong. So this part of the lyrics made me think of a few things. First is how, especially when I was younger, I looked around me and I noticed there was a right way of doing stuff, and clearly I was failing at it when I was like talking to people, or I don't know, the way I thought or the way I approached people or explained stuff. So there was a right way to dance as well, and if you didn't do those, people noticed it. So this part of the lyrics made me think of, like, I'm trying to do it right and then everybody will be dancing and they're gonna be feeling it right. There is a right and a wrong way to be and to do and to dance and to feel. And this part of the lyrics also made me think, like, I was imagining someone asking me what is like a perfect day with your friends, or like when you invite someone over. The ideal situation is if everything goes right in my head in the way that I thought. So I imagine I invite my friends over, and the perfect day for me is I imagine it and people follow the script in my head or the things that I had planned. So for example, if I invite friends over and we're going to watch a movie, it's like I invited you guys over and I expect you to be here at 4. So you guys are gonna arrive at 4, we're gonna chit chat for like an hour, and then we're gonna start watching the movie, and no one is going to talk during the movie because we're there to watch it, right? So we are going to talk about it after the movie. You know, there is a time to do stuff and there is a right way to do stuff in my brain. And then yeah, after the movie we can talk about it, we can order food, and then you guys are going to be out of my house by 8, for example. Or if you guys want to stay over, let's all talk about it and be like, do you want to stay like another hour? Like, I am getting a little bit tired. Anyway, things would be kind of like planned ahead in my head, and it would go well. It would be a good day if people followed it, or if we talked about it, so that I could prepare myself for those situations and how to continue on the situations. If I am tired before the night is over, if I feel comfortable with these people, I can be like, you know what, I'm tired today, we can meet again tomorrow maybe, but today that's it.
That's it.
So yeah, in summary, this part of the lyrics made me think of this rigid black and white thinking, where we think there is a right and a wrong way to do stuff, and also all of these scripting and planning ahead that we sometimes do in order to feel safe. And then if you keep playing this song, you're gonna see here, I'm gonna just put a screenshot of the lyric video for the song. It's basically the same thing over and over again. So lyrics wise, it's not a very interesting song, but it made me think of how autistic sometimes really like routine and just, you know, knowing what to expect and predictability basically. So this song, this lyric reminded me of that. So imagine the robot is confident and they're singing with their robotic voice and they're fine with it, and they're singing the same thing over and over again. But at the same time, you can feel, as you can listen as the music goes on, as the song goes on, there are more instruments being added and, you know, more interesting things happening in the background. Even if the lyrics and the voice and the melody are not that interesting, you have more things being added to it. So it reminded me as well as my experience as an autistic person. I do like routine, but at the same time, I am not a 2-year-old child that likes listening to kids song that is the same thing over and over again. So I do like things being a little bit different in music and in life in general, but I do appreciate when change is not that sudden. So imagine that you are adding interesting stuff to your life as it is being added in the song, but you're doing it gradually and it doesn't change all of a sudden. The song is the same, like the melody is the same, the lyrics are the same, but you are adding different stuff as music goes on.
Doing it right, everybody will be dancing and we're feeling it right. Doing it right, everybody will be dancing and we're feeling it right. Doing it right, everybody will be dancing and we're feeling it right. Everybody will be dancing and
And then by 1 minute of the song, you can actually listen to another person. So this time Panda Bear comes in and it's a human with a human voice. And I actually don't have much to say about the lyrics on this part. It's mostly about how there's someone else in the song now. And the thing that I thought about this is how there's this really interesting video that I watched recently. It's a short from another autistic creator called Kaylin, and she talks about the importance of interdependence. So I'm gonna leave a link to this video as well. Like I said, it's a short, so the idea is quickly encapsulated on it. I'm gonna summarize it for you. Basically, sometimes when you're talking about autistic people and like organizations and support agencies and things like that, and treatments and management of it, basically how we try to help autistic people is we're trying to help them be more independent, but then sometimes we can forget the importance of interdependence. So it's important for us to teach our autistic people to be able to live with others and trust others and be able to work with others. So this part of the song reminded me of that. So it's really nice to be an autistic person and be able to be yourself, but not being isolated and happy by yourself. And whenever you have to work with someone else, or you have to leave your house, you're already feeling bad about yourself. It's really good to feel part of a community and embraced just as you are. So this part of the song makes me happy because I'm thinking of the robot confident and being himself, you know, singing like a robot, but there is someone there singing with them, and it is a human voice, it is a human. So this robot didn't have to fit in and be someone else and sing like a human. The robot is there, and the robot is still singing the same thing over and over again. So it makes me think of, you know, a robot sticking to their routines and doing the things that make them feel safe and happy, like stimming. So they're doing stuff to self-regulate or just express in the way that they like it. So they're singing the same lyrics over and over again, and there's this person next to them singing their own thing as well, but they're creating the music together. So they are working together, each in their own way. So they are contributing together to something that, like synergy, you know, basically that's saying that the whole is greater than the sum of its parts.
I tell you that whole is a whole lot greater than the sum of his parts.
Another thing it reminded me of is I am reading a book by the Scottish comedian Fern Brady, who is a late diagnosed autistic person as well, and she basically recounts her story in that book. And in one of the chapters she comments on how sometimes a person comes talk to you and basically that's how you make friends. And that's a lot of my experience. I've always been a very quiet, shy girl, and I would wait for people to come talk to me and basically express interest in being my friend. And then each day we met, they would renew that, you know, friendship contract. Like they come talk to me in the first day, and then I have to wait in the following day to see, like, if this person liked me, they're gonna talk to me again, basically saying, yeah, you know, I liked you, I still want to keep talking to you. And she mentions that in her book, that sometimes one person would come to us and that would be our best friend. And she also mentions that she didn't have many friends as well. So it reminded me of that in the song. So there's this person who comes close to you, they show interest in being your friend, and they accept you for who you are, and then you guys, you know, you click and you are able to create interesting things together, like this song. Anyway, I'm almost done with my thoughts on this song, but one of the things I also liked in it is that if you follow the robot's journey in this album, this is one of the last songs, so the robot is already confident, like I said. So I think it's really nice to notice, like I said, the robot is repeating the same lyrics over and over again throughout the song, but they also know that sometimes it's their turn to be quiet and let the other person sing. So I think it's interesting to think that it's kind of like a robot after they go through, you know, an autistic person after they go through some like therapy and they understand some coping strategies and they understand context, and they understand that sometimes you have to be quiet and let the other person speak. So like I said, they're creating a song together. So if the person is really rigid in their thinking and they feel like I have to say this thing over and over again, like a child with like echolalia, that they just keep repeating things over and over again, or they're screaming to regulate themselves and things like that, they are not opening the space and offering that space for the other person to provide their value to the song and to the life as well, you know. So I like to see this song as a good representation of the robot, not only understanding that they're a robot and they're not gonna fit in with the humans, but like I said, it kind of resonates to me as an autistic person in the sense that sometimes after you do a lot of work on yourself and to create your own self-confidence, self-esteem, and your idea of who you are, as an autistic person, you can understand that you can be yourself in a way that is not disruptive to the others and not self-destructive to yourself. You don't have to try to fit in and not be yourself. You can be yourself and you can have friends and you can create things together. If you learn how to cope with all of those things and how to find a good balance between all of those. So the robot is there singing what they have to say, expressing themselves in their own robotic voice. They don't have to try to be someone else and have a different voice, have a human voice. They have found someone there who accepts them and who understands that, yeah, we can create something together. You're gonna sing with your robotic voice, I'm gonna sing with my human voice. Each of us has a different message that we can add to the song, and each of us has their different timings in the song. Sometimes we're gonna sing together. You can sing the same lyrics that you'll be singing over and over again throughout the song. I'm gonna be singing with my human voice, my own lyrics. Sometimes you are going to be quiet and I'm gonna sing just my piece. Sometimes you're gonna sing your piece again and I will be quiet, and sometimes we're gonna sing together again, and that's okay. And like I said, the whole is greater than the sum of its parts, so there is value in both of in both of the voices singing, in both of the messages. And yeah, like I said, I think this song is really interesting, even though it's like so short and there's the whole story in the album. This song, even though it's like so small, it's such a small piece of the album, I had all of these, you know, musings while I listened to it. And then there's this part of the song that goes, if you lose your way tonight, that's how you know the magic's right. And I'm just gonna put the part of that video that I recommended in the beginning because I think the person encapsulates the whole message of the album and of this part of the lyrics here very well.
Panda Bear comes in with the additional human vocals on top. The pivotal lyric here is this: if you lose your way tonight, that's how you know the magic's right. This whole album has been about letting go of your expectations, the pressure to be something different than what you are, and even the well-intentioned attempt to make yourself fit somewhere. Just go with it, dance, loosen up, let love in, let music in. That's how you know the magic is right. Random Access Memories explores what it means to be human and fit in, looking through the past, the present, and the future, all through the eyes of a robot. It's robots making art about what it means to be human.
So yeah, like I said, these were just things that I thought. I'm autistic and I've been recently diagnosed, so of course these experiences may not resonate with everyone. So I think it would be really interesting if you are autistic and you shared your thoughts in the comment section as well, or if you're not autistic, comment as well, but please be respectful. So yeah, I hope this video was interesting, and let me know in the comments if you have anything to say, and do watch the 2 videos that I linked here. I think they're gonna be very interesting to everyone, but especially for autistic people. And subscribe to the channel if you want. I don't post very often, and I post things depending on, like I said, what I feel interesting. So I might be posting things that are all over the place, and I have to value myself and say that I think this can be like a really refreshing channel, since I don't feel a pressure to post the same kind of stuff over and over again, because I don't have a following that's going to like criticize me if I'm doing different stuff. So anyway, subscribe if you want. If you don't want, fine. But yeah, thanks for watching.